the action between teacher and student. Are some of the students encouraged to speak more than others? You have to certify. Sometimes trainee is so young and also handsome, and she can say student in the class, right? Like example, oh, practical. Pay attention to practical and also motivate, encourage only one or two practical, yeah, to speak more than the other. If you see in this case, right. You say that, oh, teacher, yes, motivate or encourage all students or give, yes, a student a chance, right, equal chance to join or to answer, to speak in the class, so you have to write. Yeah. Don't think about someone handsome or practical. Okay, write down all. For classroom management, yeah. How does the teacher control the classroom? Yeah, you see, you learn teaching methodology, you know how to control the classroom. Yeah, especially the first question: how does the teacher deal with disruption when the student make noise in the class? Yeah, what technique that the trainee use to control them? Say, hello sir, you have any question? Or sometimes say, hey, don't you want to study? If you don't want to study here, go out. Yeah. What technique you can see that the teacher control the class to deal with the disruption in the class, you can write down in your record. Can everyone see and hear the teacher clearly? Yeah. Here is also important. New teacher always speak so soft. They like singing karaoke. So they control their voice. So no, not like this. During teaching, speak loudly. Okay. If trainee cannot speak loudly, you write cannot speak loudly. Can the student hear clearly? Or sometimes the student at the front he can hear, and at the back try to do like and ask the other student. What did I say at the moment? Okay. No. So teacher should speak loudly and write clearly. Do not try to write a small letter on the whiteboard. Yeah. Maybe hard for students who have good eye, like me, especially you, right? Yes, you have glass. Okay. So should speak loudly and write big letter on the whiteboard. Okay. That's all for my point. So thank you, right, for the day that you joined with the practical orientation class. Yes.
Thank you so much. That is the very quick presentation, but meaningful. Alright? And I hope you will get what he meant about. So after we finish profile presenter, and we will have a question. Alright? But before we have question, perhaps you want to have a break or just go through? Run through, right? Without break, right? Thank you so much. And so now let's move to chapter 3, and Mr. P. Sarat, he will conduct chapter 3 to make you clear about what's going on in chapter 3. So please welcome Mr. P.
Okay, good morning everyone again, right? Okay. And you know my name, okay? And then I come here to be responsible for the lesson planning. Okay, section 3. There are 3 main points for doing presentation. The first one is a lesson plan. The second one evaluation sheet. And the third one is teaching materials. Okay. So come with me everyone, right? Lesson plan templates. Okay. So actually, okay, if you are a trainee teacher, so you need to conduct the lesson plan, but we make sure that okay, what are the kinds of lesson plan that we need to do, depending on the lesson type that you bring in the class to teach. Okay. So be careful this one, right? Okay. So I will show you the lesson type 1. You can see PPT or PPL, right? You know, the first P stands for what? The second P stands for what? And the third P stands for what? And also letter L stands for what, okay? So the first P here stands for presentation, and the second P is a practice, and the last P is a presentation. And L here stands for lesson, okay? So in this text, you need to consider about the skill that you bring in the class. That is a macro skill or micro skill, okay? You know macro skill? That is a large skill or big skill, okay? The four skill, okay, that you normally face in your learning, right? Speaking, listening, reading, and writing. These are called macro skill. But for this lesson tab, do not focus on the macro skill. We focus on the micro skill. That is a smaller skill, right? Like you can say grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, phonetic symbols. Okay. So all of these are the micro skill. That you need to use it with this lesson tab, right? You got what I mean? Yeah. Okay. So that is the first okay of the lesson plan that you said. Name, your name, because you are a trainee teacher, right? Okay. And then on the teaching class that you come to teach, textbook, pre-intermediate or intermediate, okay? Lesson duration, 45 minutes or 1 hour or 60 minutes. Level, okay? And topic here, right? You know aims? Aim is like the goal of the lesson. Okay. So the word that we use with aim for the lesson tag here is to introduce or to present. That means you introduce a new skill to the students to learn, right? So do not put to practice. Remember this one. Okay, to introduce a new language skill. Present simple or other, right? An objective. So how can you differentiate between the aim and objective? It's not the same here, okay? When we are talking about the lesson tag, right? You know objective? At least you have 2 or 3 objectives in order to achieve the aim of the lesson that you bring to teach the student in the class. Okay. So at the end of the lesson, the student will be able to do not understand, don't say understand. So make sure that the verb that we use here are action verbs. You know action verb? Yes. Okay, action verb different from stand verb or non-action verb, right? Because here, in order to achieve the aim of the lesson, you must make the student into practice. So when the student do practice, they make action. So that's why do not use stand verb or non-action verb to mention here, right? I give you one example. The lesson today that we teach is a grammar present simple, right? Okay. So the verb that we use here, at the end of the lesson, the student will be able to write the form of present simple. Okay. The second objective, practice present simple through the class or individually. And the third one, to develop or to improve speaking skill by using the target item present simple. So totally there are 3 objectives in order to achieve the aim of the lesson. You got what I mean? Everyone, right? Okay. So material that we use can be what? CD, markers, textbooks, or something else that is used to support your teaching, right? Okay. One more thing you have to understand about the types of material. Printed material and non-printed material. The material that you print, like textbook, handouts, have a marker, you can print or not? Cannot. That is a non-printed materials, okay? Right. Next one. So look at about the procedure that we need to apply appropriately. There are 8 steps for PPT or PPL, right? So the first one is a lesson opener or lesson opening. Teacher need to greet student, take student attendance, and also asking for that he come to take for the first time. Okay. Second one, What were you? Teacher can ask the student, what did you study yesterday? Okay. And student can answer that. We learn about blah blah blah. Depend on the real lesson that we taught. Okay. Next one. The third step here is a presentation stage. Okay. So there are 6 points here. Okay, 6 points right. So revise of the next. Teaching vocabulary. This one, or this point, or these steps here, you only need to give something beside the lesson, not your target item. As I mentioned already, like present simple, do not bring present simple here. You can conduct other material in order to let the student involved. Okay. And the second one said the same. You can let the student sit properly or tell them to be quiet or well organized. Okay, at the table, right? Let us see introduce a new target item. New target item here as a lesson that you bring to the student for today. Okay. By what? By giving examples and let the student give what you are talking. Or by giving questions to ask the students to give ideas. And then you start to write on the board. After that, you can ask a question by using the comprehension tag. Okay. What is it for? Or what tense is the sentence about? Okay. And later in here, highlight or tell the target item. That means you underline which verb as a present verb, subject, object, or modifier, okay? Or whatever, right? Related to the target item. And the last one, do the subject. You go to your point. Write down the forms, meaning, and use. Or the present simple. Okay. Is it okay? Yes. Okay, next one. Go to practice. That is a completely control. You know completely control? That means all the student activity in the class will be fully controlled by the teacher. The teacher guide all. Teacher can give example. Sometimes teacher can give answer for some exercise before the student starts. And then the student can go through to check what are the student progress. You got what I mean? Okay. So next one, we go to production. So after the practice, that the teacher can achieve or the student understand well. So we can go to the practice here. So make sure that the practice here will not be relevant to the target item or the same practice. That is different. Production here refers to the student own creation, but involve or relate to the target item present simple. Like you can set the student to write a piece of writing about the student habits or someone's job or career. Okay? And also call the student to do presentation. Because in speaking or in writing here related to the present simple. Okay. This one I can say less control or free control. Yes. Sometimes assisted by the teacher or sometimes by the student themselves. Okay? If the student needs the teacher guide, teacher can help, but not full. Okay? Yeah. And go to the next evaluation. Teacher can evaluate how much students have understood about the target item by asking questions from the low level student or sometimes middle level student. Okay? Do not ask outstanding student because outstanding student can understand well. If one or two or a few of them can answer well, how about the lower student? How can you judge or they understand? It will be nonsense, right? Okay. And then you can go to wrap up. That means you give the short summary of the target item that you already taught. Okay. Last one, say goodbye, like I said, lesson closing or lesson closing, okay? So teacher can give more homework, okay, relevant to the target items. reminder, some point that the student might not have caught. Okay. Feedback. Lên mẹ được bài hai này đấy. Và bài hai là ta dừng rồi bài hai dừng bài kia rồi đây. Okay, so next one, right? The second, right? Lesson type, okay? P or S.
With your paper, right?
So the second type is P or S. The first P stands for practice. The second review, and the third is skills. Okay. So for these steps, the training teacher will bring only the macro skill, not micro skill. You have to separate, okay, between micro skill and macro skill. Apply with the macro skill, speaking, listening, reading, or writing. Okay. So, okay.
Two more.
You answer exercise in morning. Okay. No.
Okay. You need to be warm up. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, you can go now. You can go through this one. Okay, names. The name, that. The same are the previous sample, right? Okay. Class and textbook, right? Lesson duration, lesson text. Topic, present, simple, right? Okay, the aim. You can see the aim. To practice listening skill. For example, so the aim of the lesson tab 1 and the aim of the lesson tab 2 is completely different. Okay. If we talk about the lesson tab 1, PPP or PPL, the aim here to introduce or to introduce. Okay. But for the lesson tab 2 here, the aim is to practice. Because we practice skill. Okay. Listening skill, speaking skill, reading skill, or skill. Okay. So depend on the real lesson that you bring to take in the class. Right. And the objective. Okay. By the end of the lesson or on completion of the lesson, the student will be able to also action verb, not state verb here that you mentioned. Okay. To develop, to improve, to highlight. Okay. So this one you can write down here. Right? Okay. And then material. As you know already, right? Okay. Okay. So go. There is step the same. Lesson opening the same ones. Okay. Formal or review, what need to study. Okay. Sometimes you can have two kinds of revision. Okay. Sweet revision, that means every day that you come. Okay. The lesson on Monday and then you come on Tuesday, you review. That is a sweet. Sometimes the systems. So last month you think about the present simple one and then today present simple two, so different. That is a system. Okay? Okay, so go to number 3, not presentation stage, that is a skill stage. Okay? Pre-listening task. What does it mean pre? That means before. Before you reach your lesson, what will you do? Okay? That is a pre, right? Revise reading vocabulary, set the sense. Predicting about story. Sometimes you can bring a story with pictures and let the student to look at the pictures and imagine what are in the picture or what are behind the pictures. Okay? And then you go to the main listening task like practice. Okay? That is the main lesson that you need to go. Okay? And number 5, after listening task, what are the skills that you will let the student do in order to improve or develop? Okay? Like listening, and then go to speaking. Listen and not the same skill. Okay? Remember about number 5. Okay? Not the same skill. Right? And number 6, evaluation. you evaluate on the last notes. Number 6 and 7.
Today is a very special day because the electric block out, you know. It was cut up, you know, but now it's come like electric is better that giving you the clear instruction, right, related to like especially lesson plan, right? Ideas for your practicum process, right? Without lesson plan, how can you teach your student? So that's why Mr. Kesavan just clarify about what the lesson plan is. Okay. Thanks again, Mr. Kesavan, for your good presentations. And now let's move to Mr. Upunji, right, from Hindi. Please welcome.
Okay, so before I start my section, so I would like all of you to stand up. Okay, bend your leg, bend your arm. Because you just bend so long, arm will sit down. Okay, yes, okay, then thank you. Sit down, please. So, okay, very good morning, all of you. And very good morning, all supervisor. So my name is Utkunti. I don't need to introduce my background. So Supervisor Philip just introduced for me already. So before I start this, I would like all of you to know about journal. So what is journal? So if you study a content or if you study any major, you have to write the thesis or the dissertation. But for our practicum, so you have to write a general activity of any teacher trainee when we observe him or her. Okay, so when the teacher trainee come to perform his or her teaching, they have to observe and write all the activity included in the journal. So next, in the journal, on the topic, it should release general information about week, date, time of teaching, lesson, topic, class, and the number of students as well. So for the journal, you have to list all this information like the week 1, week 2, week 3, date, specific date. Okay, time, what time? 7 o'clock, from 7 to 8. Or you have how many times that you have to spend. Or lesson, which lesson, topic, present simple, or the reading, class, AC, sorry, A1, A2, A3, something like that, number of students as well. So in the main part of journal, we list down both good points and points to be improved our teacher training teaching practice. So in the journal, you have to write the good point. So how is the teacher trainee performing his or her teaching? How they just to be improve all those activity of the teaching as well. Okay, we move to the next. So we also list down our personal feelings toward the teaching, how to improve the teaching, how should be done to improve the teaching, what should not be done in order to make this better. So in this point, for the journal, you have to use your personal feeling or your idea how to improve your teaching. You have to do research more. Before we start, we just studied already about the methodology of the teaching or the techniques how to use in the lesson plan as well. Okay, at the end we give overall conclusion on the teaching. So at the end of the journal, you have to write or you have to sum up of your activity of your method. So note, we can use our own style of writing of the journal, but we should make sure that we include all above mentioned information. This means that for a journal, you have to include all the criteria that I mentioned above. So like you have to write out which point or which part that you have to improve or which part that is good for you related to the practicum. Okay, this one also, week. So which week? Week 1, week 2 that you have to perform your teaching. Okay, lesson. Which lesson? Topic, date, time, class, and class, no class. Okay, this is the form of journal writing. So the trainee journal, you have to write first week. If you start the first, you have to write first, second. Okay, lesson. Which lesson? Okay, topic also, date, time, room, and school after. Okay, before you start this, you have to consider this question. Which class or which A1 do you teach? Is class A1, A2, B1, B2? Which level? Year 1, year 2, or year 3? Or how many students are there in the class? 10 students, 20 students? You have to write with a specific number. Okay, number 2, how do you find your teaching? Any difficulty? How do you find? It is good for you? How to control, how to use the classroom management? It is difficult when the student make more in the class, so how can you control that? It is difficult for you or not, so you have to write on the journal criteria. So number 3, what are the good or the strong point you have achieved in your teaching? So what is the good point? No need to write the bad point. We should replace the word, the bad point to the point to be improved. So it is clear. So number 4, what are the weak points related to your teaching performance? So what is your weak point, your weakness point? If you can find your weakness point, you have to improve. You have to ask your supervisor, how can I improve this point? So number 5, how would you make change? So let's start. So how would you make changes so that you can become more effective? So how can you develop your teaching practicum or your teaching performance to be effective, attractive from the teacher and the student? Sometimes you can replace so this is the quality of time. Quality of time. Yeah. So number 6, are you satisfied with your teaching? So during your teaching, so it is, can you find any ways or any activity that is satisfying for you? So why and why not? You have to give the reason. If you are not satisfied with your teaching, why? You can write the reason. Okay. Okay. Source for journal writing. So this is the source that you have to write for the journal. Without this, you cannot write a journal. You cannot frame the paper or empty paper with your all activity on a journal. So in here, you have to write the school, and I and K, and teacher. Which teacher? Teacher A, teacher B, or class A1, A2, AB, or number of students as well. And date, which date? July 21st, 22nd, 2019, or 10, what time? So 1 to 8, 5:30 to 6:30. Okay, lesson, which lesson or unit? Lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. This is the intonation. Okay, textbook or course book. So in our school, we just maybe cutting edge or the new headway. Pre-intermediate or intermediate. So the aim of observation to reflect on the method and teaching technique used in English language classroom. How can you? Okay, before the teacher training start. So how can they use which technique that you have to observe? And one more thing, warm up. How does the teacher lead into the lesson? So when it starts, so how can the teacher trainee lead the lesson between teacher and trainee? And then, okay, this is the sample of journal writing. For the journal writing, you cannot write in the paragraph, but we can write in paragraph and combine together as the composition or essay. Okay? So for the journal, be careful with your grammar or structure. Most of the students, they just, this is the record, but we cannot write in the present, we just mention only the past tense. Okay? So in here, no need to spend much time to read because it's too long. Okay, you just read at your home. So this is the outline of journal writing. For the outlines of the journal writing, the first one you have to introduction. We have to on the morning or on that 21st July, for example, 2019, I just on semester A, something like that. This is the introduction. So strong point. So what is strong point of the teacher training? And point to be improved or weakness point. So you will find on the journal paper that I mentioned in the last, in the previous slide. So the last one is sum up or conclusion. This one you can add your comment or your opinion or your ideas. So thank you. This is my turn.
Thank you so much again, Mr. Key, and thanks all of you for your listening to what we just spoke about journal. As you mean about journal, I hope that you will understand more about it. Then you ask the question, or somehow you meet directly, especially for the student that want to verify about what is journal or how to write journal for your practicum student. Thank you. So thanks so much. And now let's move to the last presenter. Let's welcome to Dr. Somara.
Okay, so very good morning. How do you feel now? Hungry? But I hope that no one angry, right? Okay, so just go and we going to move quickly since this one is the last part, but it is not, we can say like, it last but not least, that you need to do it to finish your teaching practice or practicum, or you can pass or not, it's just based on this. Yeah. One. Only one, two, other. Have you ever reflect? Yes? Have you ever tried to do some meditation to reflect your daily life? Okay, keep thinking or stay inside a quiet place to reflect about what you have done so far. Have you ever or not? How? And sometimes. And sometimes you forget. Okay? So, reflection paper in here is not far different. You have to write and reflect about what you have learned so far during, before, during, and after your teaching practice or practicum in here. But reflection paper, the same name but different outline. It's just based on the requirement of each program or each course, or depend on the people as well. Sometimes you can see. So depend on whether what or which part that they want you to reflect. So don't forget to see the guideline. Even though you have experience with that part, but you still need to see and read the guideline carefully as well. That's why this orientation is important for you. You get what I mean? Yeah. So the guideline for the reflection paper, we will focus on five important things. The first one, we will focus on introduction, lesson plans, classroom management, methodology, and conclusion in that part. I will go and detail in the content of this part. Okay, so we will focus on the introduction. Okay, so the first part you need to reflect on the program. You need to reflect on the major that you have learned so far in semester 1 as well as semester 2 of Year 4. They're going to talk briefly about each subject, about like, for example, like teaching methodology, what have you learned in that subject. All right, just briefly, no need to quote some part, but to describe by using your own idea or your own understanding based on that part. So this one we just focus on reflection, not any academic citation or some part. No need to do so. Just briefly describe. Okay, and so there are five major subjects that you want to learn in Year 4, or in the one that who are in Year 4 right now, you have already learned some of them, but the one that just come from Year 2 and Year 3, not yet, right? Yeah, so be ready for this. Okay, and the second part, you want to reflect on teaching practice of teaching practicum objective or aim. That at the beginning we just have 3 aims, so you better reflect on the 3 aims to run this part. Whether how many percentage that you have done so far. For example, like the first one, they want you to put the theory into practice. So, for example, like you have learned so far in the teaching methodology subject regarding to the lesson planning, for example. So, what have you learned from that part? From the beginning, maybe during the coursework, your lecturer may teach you or show you how to do it, but since you may not come up with some overview of that part, or you may careless with that, and then you did not know how to do it. Or you may assume that you have already learned about lesson planning, but when you go and practice, it's just a bit hard or much hard for you to do it as well. So, and at the same time, you may experience about the feeling of the teacher, the way that they just plan, the way that they just prepare their lesson before teaching. So it's not really easy sometimes. And you may start to learn about the feeling of being a teacher for 6 weeks. Okay? Even though you want to be a teacher or not, but when you take the major in English in TEFL here, you must become a teacher. You get what I mean? Yes. At least you become a teacher for 6 weeks. You will become a teacher. So that's why you need to reflect, you need to learn about all of those things. Okay, you need to reflect based on it. So if possible in this part, we can say this part you can use it as, okay, it can be one subject is 1 paragraph, or you can combine it all of the subject here to 1 paragraph, and about this part it's just the second paragraph. So you need to write it as a paragraph. We can say like an essay, not a paragraph. I mean, in an essay there are different paragraphs should be included, right? Cannot be you just write everything just about this one very long paragraph in here. All right, a paragraph should be half page or something. It's just enough for that. Okay, not mean 5 pages paragraph. It's a bit hard, right? Okay, so the next one, we will focus on lesson plan. You need to reflect on how well do you understand about the lesson plan. So what have you learned from the coursework? Like I mentioned earlier, what have you learned from your lecturer while he teach you or introduce you about how to design or how to plan the lesson? You may not come up with some idea regarding to that. You may not think that it is not really important, for example, right? And the second one, you need to reflect on how well did you improve in planning the lesson. We can say your improvement of planning the lesson after the whole period weeks of teaching practice or practicum. when you start, you may have no idea regarding to teaching method, teaching techniques or activity to achieve your lesson aim or lesson attitudes. But after you have a chance to prepare 1 or 2 lesson plans, you may learn or you may gain some more experience. And you may come up with a clear understanding regarding to how to plan a lesson. Or it may be worse sometimes. So you can reflect based on that part. Okay, so that part is just about lesson plan. Let's move to section 3, classroom management. What does the word classroom management mean? Can you manage the class? Yes? Not really well. Yeah? Okay, to me, I may manage the class well, but not the student. Yeah? I can lock the door, it's fine, if I want to manage the class. But the students sometimes it's not really easy. We cannot keep them out close all the time. So we need to be aware. Okay, when should we stop them from being active in the class? Okay, when should we lead them or guide them to learn to be active in the class? So those things that you need to reflect as well. So classroom management we should focus on many different areas. This is just some example. The first one about using the whiteboard. How can what is the proper whiteboard using in the teaching methodology or pedagogical? Okay, teacher should write down the date, write down the lesson title. Should divide the whiteboard into 2 parts or 3 parts, it just depends on the part. And the way the teacher leave out things from the whiteboard, for example. So they will keep observing and learning from those things as well. And table and chair arrangement. How many ways that you can arrange the chair in the classroom? Okay, it's just like in the half circle, or even the solo group work or something in here. Okay, that you better learn about those things as well. Okay, so and all the things you want to reflect based on your real practice in your teaching practice only, not from the book. All right. So just reflect regarding to what you have faced so far. Some classes it might be hard for you to move. Since in our school we just have the long table, for example. Not it's just individual chair like this one. You may easy to arrange any classroom activity or something here. So you can reflect based on that part. Reflect based on your own real classroom. All right?
Yes.
Yeah. And besides this, we can say like it might be the voice, the big problem as well. The sharp weapon of being a teacher is the voice. If you cannot speak louder, you cannot lead the class well, you cannot teach the student well as well. So voice is important. Okay? But it is not the voice of the voice kid or voice Cambodia. But you still need the voice.
The voice
So-
I paid.
Yes.
The voice I paid. The voice of Pagoda.
You still need to know about how to use volume up or lower down, it's based on the way that you should want to emphasize. So voice is important, right? Yeah. And some part, most of the new teachers, we normally face with the time management. We plan so far, but we cannot finish the lesson plan. Yeah? And you can reflect whether it's good or bad based on that part. Some teachers, they can say, we plan, but when they go and teach, they may face a problem with the understanding of the student. So they decided to teach the student, but not the lesson plan or the textbook in here. So whatever you face, you can explain why. So you based on that part. Okay, so this part you can reflect on the good points. You may raise up something good to put in the block in here. And difficulties that you face. Okay, don't tell me that you don't face any difficulties. Okay? Next, you need to come up with the solution regarding to those parts. We do not expect that you just rest up the problem without the solution. When you go and work as well, we really need about the problem or difficulty with the solution. So your boss will like you very much. Okay, what you face, what are the solutions? Don't forget. So that's why in this one we related your 3 points to reflect on.
Thanks so much again, Dr. Especially Dr. Somara for the last presenter related to the last chapter. So we do not have a break. We will do roughly because no time. Then we still have 30 minutes for question and answer. I think it's long speaking from the beginning, the first chapter until the end of chapter. There are 5 chapters. The first chapter related to Mr. Sunghoon, second chapter related to Mr. Sofrawi, and the third chapter related to Mr. Pisarat. The chapter 4 related to Mr. He, and the last chapter related to Mr. Dr. Somara. So all 5 chapters, if all of you guys have the questions, right, related to the first chapter, and answer back to you guys, right? And especially for the new student, because new student that we are now orienting you guys and process your teaching practice, right, in the 4 work months. For the year 3 student or year 2 student, right, you are now preparing yourself, right, for the next year. But no problem if you have a question related to 5 chapters. So we have a specialist and speaker here, right, as a new speaker here, and to send you back the right answer or the good answer. So thanks. So please welcome to the question. And if you have the question, please. Who is the first questioner? We will welcome to your question. Okay. Okay, so you have a question. So please raise up your question. What is your question about? Your name, please. What's your name, please?
Your name?
My name is Sailai. I'm from year 4 semester 1 at my 6. My question is about the four point that you mentioned at the moment. Methodology that the teacher used CLT and TTM. So what are the differences of using this?
So thank you so much.
Okay.
And this is responsible from Mr. Professor Somara. Please welcome.
Okay, so based on that part, I do not limit, or we do not limit you to use any method. It can depend on the way that you decided to choose and use it. You get what I mean? Because for example, if among the 5 people here, you should go and teach, and most of your teaching method just start with in CLT or communicative language teaching. You can just reflect about your language or classroom. You have read about how to use it or the principle on how to use the CLT. But when you just take and follow those steps or those procedures, you can, for example, the way you teach. When you form, you may spend longer time. But like when you find the group fastly, your supervisor, he or she may consult you and tell you about the point that you need to be improved. Okay, he may come out with, if I were you, I better count the student 1, 2, 3 until number 4, or until 5, based on the group that you want to form, and then I better map the place that they better go and sit and instruct them clearly. After you got the number, you can move to the space or the place that you better form your group. No need to call out number 4, number 2. It will be messy here, for example. So the student can form the group well or not, it's just based on your instruction. So beside your voice, you also need the clear instruction. Alright? So when you have clear instruction, everything will be under your control. It will not be overlapped or it will be really clumsy or messy in here. It depends on the part. So by this part, I do not recommend you to use only one teaching method in here. You can apply whatever you want that psychology subject and apply it and press it to reflect. But I recommend you not take it from the book, but from what you have. Whether I have answered the question? Yeah? Clearly. Okay, so since this section we can say you want to do after your teaching practice. At the end, after you finish it, then you have a chance to do this one. And the way that you do this one, you need to discuss among. Since all of you need to combine your experience into this paper. And in this reflection paper, it will be used for your final defense or practicum folder defense. So when you need to wrap it up from the beginning until the end into this reflection paper. It is the core, it is the main report that includes everything to submit to the school for the final defense. And I forget to add at the moment, we can say, how can you gather the idea to write down? You can say like from section 2, section 3, and section 4. You can gather from the first one, you can have what? Teaching observation record. When you go and observe the classmate teaching or your teammate teaching, you need to answer those questions in the teaching observation log or teaching observation record. And then after that, after you finish the teaching practice or observation, go back home. You need to transfer from the teaching observation record into your trainee journal writing. Do you get what I mean? So avoiding from low track based on that part. As we have observed, we can say some of the trainees or some of the groups, after they finish their teaching practice, they go and have a party and drink, for example, drink beer or something, and then they forgot everything. So we can say finish the teaching practice. It is not the end of your teaching from the beginning. Do you get what I mean? Mean you just left from the bank of the river. You are not reached the destination that you better go now. Since you still have many things to do to include in that part. So after you finish your teaching practice, you need to transfer from your teaching observation record into your trainee journal. And the information that you have included in your trainee journal, you can transfer into the reflection paper here. So those information just come from this one. You need to transfer. But in this section, I recommend you to discuss among your team, since you will teach a different skill or different major in one module. Some may teach about writing, some may teach about grammar, about writing. So you may face with different difficulty in here. And you may face with different teaching methods. So you want to discuss and try to brainstorm it with your difficulty, and then you can start writing your reflection paper this time. You get what I mean? And the rest, your supervisor will help you more regarding to that paper. Since currently you may come up with some imagination, but I don't think that you may be clear. It might be clean. So keep talking your supervisor until the end of this part. It will be much better for this part. Okay, I hope I can answer to that question. Any other question besides this? Okay.
Like what you said about the reflection paper that we talk about after we have finished our teaching practicum, and then we must write everything as said, and we write it from our this practice like this.
Okay, sure. For this one. Yeah.
Just in the Somara
Reflection papers. We can say like we recommend you to do like during your observation. Some trainees just bring that notebook, right? But we do not recommend you to take note in your notebook, since you will lose the way in here. You will, since sometimes you record, you will not get those information to write in your trainee journal very well. Since you may record and then you may not know about what you have done so far with the record. Okay, so use the teaching observation record to record. Since you just answer some question there, and then you will get the information. Something else there? Okay, other?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Somara. I'd like to do two questions. So if you are not clear in any chapter, like chapter 1, you are not in the folder, so check please. That is the best thing to be. Make sure that one. So if you are not clear, please ask Mr. Nguyen. And second point related to teaching logs and observation log. If you are not clear, and you can ask Mr. Somara that will clarify about how to write teaching or observation log, right? And the lesson plans, how to design lesson plan, because in the lesson plan, in the chapter, so what is the difference between journal or reflection paper? So what is the difference between like chapter 1, a long item to say, and what is the difference between chapter 1, chapter 2, right? So we need to make it differently, So if you can't choose how to write chapter 1, chapter 2, like messy thinking, how can you produce it? Because this is very important for you guys to do it, right? So please feel free and asking us. Everybody, please.
Please answer your question.
Yes, as time is money, Time is very important for you. We still have some more, around 20 or 15 minutes more for question and answer. Then we'll close the orientation day. And this is only one time a year. I can say that a yearly, right? We do it a yearly, right? Please, everybody, and listen to the speaker spoke, and you make a note, please. Feel free, talk to us, especially for senior students.
So your rest of your question.
Please, come on. We allow you to ask us. Right. If you say no question, means that you understood all a think what we presented this morning. So please do not make the time fly with nothing. If the time flies with you guys, useful knowledge.
This is the quality of time, huh?
Yeah. So Mr. Wukunti from India said quality of time. Somehow I would not say quality of time. I might say quality of time. Because different university education, different higher education, or something like that. So tell your name, what's your name, please?
Hello everybody and teacher. My name is John Doran. Yeah, I'm a senior student here. And I have question. I can be clarify to make sure about section 4 that we talk about that teacher from our present teach us about the journal, and I want to know about the sort of journal like different from the practice paper or that similar.
So what is the difference between journal and paper? So how to write?
Yeah,
How to write, right?
Yeah, and
Okay, thank you for your question. It's this related to Mr. P.
Thank you for your nice question. So related to journal and reflection paper. So I will not discuss or answer you about reflection paper. This is the response by Dr. Somara. So respond about journal. So what is the difference between journal and reflection paper? So journal, this is what you record all the activities during the teacher training, performance his or her teaching in the class. So all the journal, all the record, so we have many questions included there. So the first, like I mentioned on the slide, so how did or how they lead the lesson in the class. So before the teacher training starts, or how before the teacher training performance his or her teaching, so how can they lead the lesson? So we just include all and you have to write. So the first one, teacher check attendance, teacher review the lesson, something like that. So before that, when they start the lesson, so how can training teacher introduce with the student center or teacher centers? So you have to mention all this one. So when the teacher control the student or call the student, call by name or just point like that. Okay. So when the teacher training ask the question, so what the student answer the teacher training question. You get it? So you have to write on this paper during the teacher training.
Okay.
You get it? It's clear? Yeah. Are you sure? Are you sure?
yeah, maybe nice.
Sure or sure? Okay. So any more? So we have only one paper. All this paper will include all 5 steps. The first step, second step, third step, fourth step, and fifth steps. So all each step we have the question included. You just only answer those questions. It is enough for you. You get it? Don't worry. You can ask your supervisor the response for each one. If you are not clear. Okay? But I hope you should be clear from this time. Okay? So any question more?
Not you.
Not me. Okay.
So once again, teacher, please show it about the tab 1 and tab 2. The aim of tab 1, PPL or PPP or PPL, and tab 2, PRS or P or L. At the end of it, what are the difference between the use and practice?
explain you in the presentation. Okay. So when we are talking about PPP or PPL, okay, in the end we introduce because that is a new language you will bring to teach the student for the first time. So if you talk about the POS, in the end of POS lesson plan here, to practice, make sure that we practice on the skill that you already taught the student, but different forms of skill. You got what I mean? If we talk about the PPT or PPL tabs, so the aim of it is to introduce the new language, the new grammar, not the grammar or the language that you already taught.
So I hope you will have more good answers, no, more good questions. And the teacher here is giving you the valuable reply. So please do not like hey, just wait like this, wait like that, wait for this, wait for that. Rush right now because the time is limited. Right. Around 10 minutes more we will close. Right. Because our presentation today it will be finished around 11 o'clock. Right. So we stay here for a long time, but one time a year. Right. It is very significant for all students who are major in the English teaching. So that's why we prepare this orientation course for you, this orientation class for you. Right? So please welcome the next question. Who are now preparing your question? Please speak it out. Right? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Please, yes, please tell your name.
My name is Mom and I'm going to ask teacher Somara about section 2 that talk about teaching observation logs and teaching observation report. So I want him to briefly about teaching.
So what are the differences? Briefly or speak again?
Can briefly.
Briefly.
Yeah.
Speaking briefly.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much for your question related to Mr. Soprawi talking about teaching observation log and teaching observation record. So briefly speaking, you mean that speak again, but just a summary thing, right? So please welcome to Mr. Soprawi.
So now we will sum up about teaching record and teaching observation log. Thank you for your question. Yeah, we will compare between log and record. Log also you like a record but like a small point, alright? Yeah, you can see. Yeah. This is teaching observation log. For teaching observation log, you can quote that trainee go to teach in the real classroom. For example, you teach at 20th August 2015, so you have to write down in the table. And the process of time, what time you teach in the class? Example 7 to 8 or 5 to 6. Trainee name. What's your name a moment? Example, you are teacher, Mom, alright? So you write your name, alright? Yes, in that column. And your teaching point. What point? Like you teach grammar. Example, you teach about present continuous. Have to write present continuous. Alright, in the table. And the time or duration, 1 hour or 60 minutes. Alright. It is about teaching observation log. Okay, you understand? Sure about log? Yeah. Bit smart, right? You understand you're smart? Okay. Good. But say, yes, I understand, teacher. Ask me more. Okay. Now teaching observation record. You record. Why you record? if you don't try to record your classmate, your group member, you don't have the information to write journal. Your journal based on record. You don't write record, you don't have data for your journal. So you have to write. You fill with the name of the school, teacher name, means that the trainee that go to conduct the real teaching class that you teach, number of the student in the class, 30, 20, all right. The date that you go to conduct teaching practicum, the time, lesson that you teach. It is the top of observation record. Okay? And then, textbook. What book did you teach? Halfway or cutting edge? All right? Like that, example. Aim of observation. You know the aim? Why? We let the trainee to observe other trainee. God experience. To reflect the method in the class. Example, you have different technique from other trainee. So you can observe, oh, it is good, or you can say, oh, it is not good. So you can compare with the methodology that you use in the class. And then you have to use it for your journal. Yeah, some technique, all right, from the beginning of the lesson, the lesson and to the end of the lesson. Yeah, different technique. So what you can see, the teacher use technique in the class, in warm up, to the end of the lesson. You have to take note. You have to write down in the samples of teaching practicum record, and then you have to use it for your journal. Like warm up, what technique that your member or your friend, your teacher use to lead the lesson. Like your friend use game to open or to warm up the lesson before go to the lesson. You can say, oh, teacher use the game, slap the board, or matching vocabulary, or teacher ask some question. You have to draw student attention before you go to the today lesson. So the process that the teacher do in the class, you have to take note, and then you have your own comment to the teaching. If I were him, I would blah 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 blah, like that. So take note all action that the teacher do in class. Control the classroom, not control the student. Classroom management, right? Like Mr. Somara said moment, right? Easy to control or to manage the classroom, but not easy to manage the student.
Easy to say, but difficult to do.
Yeah. Everyone, you understand, right? Yeah. So try to have a good communication with your student, because your student now is so not some we can say noisy, but some so silent. Yeah, they are good. They say so silent, don't care about this. But sometimes, all right. So take note all action that the teacher do to control the classroom or to manage the classroom. Like if the student don't join the classroom activity, what should teacher do? All right. If you don't make noise in the class, what should teacher do? And what teacher do in the class? So you take note. Yeah, write in the form of a teaching record. Okay, you clear about this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Observation log and record, record that we just clarify about the differences between two items. And let me be invested into the chapter 1 because some students or some training, correct, they don't know how to write acknowledgement. Right? So sometimes you do not know what the person, who is the person that we're gonna do first, we're gonna write first, related to acknowledgement. Right. So how to write in acknowledgement? Because this is the start Right. This is the start of your journal, no, of your folder, like the big folder, around 100 pages or over 100 pages. So acknowledgement, that is the start. All right. So without acknowledgement, it's like your teacher, your professors, your supervisor, right? Your parents, or anybody that involved in your course, involved in your life, right? So who, the first one that you're gonna say acknowledge. So, all right, you are clear about that. If you are not clear, please raise up your question because related to Mr. Sugul. So please. Thank you.
Morning teacher and morning everybody. My name is Hannet, year 3, semester 1. Now I want to ask teacher something about how to write acknowledgement. I don't understand. Thank you.
Okay. Get back, go back. Okay. So, okay, the question related to acknowledgement. So the way that you really talk about the word acknowledge. Acknowledge, it means that you give credit to someone who has helped you or who, but if in the research, they say that you acknowledge to someone that you use his or her data to do it. Okay? So acknowledge here, for your teaching practicum report, we're talking about how to show your gratefulness to someone who helped you. Okay? So you can write by, okay, I would like to express my sincere thankful to, okay, to the director of the institute here, blah blah blah, for what he do for you. First of all, he established the institute to give knowledge to you. This is one reason that you should thank him. And after that, you can say, moreover, I would like to thank to my supervisor, okay, Mr. Somara, for example, who has guided me a lot during my practicum process until I achieve my practicum report. And after that, you can thank to your team member. Without them, you cannot do it as well. And also, you can thank to maybe your family, your parents. If you have family, like you have husband or wife, you can thank to them as well. Okay? So actually, acknowledgement here refers to, like I say, in simple words, how you thank, how do you say thank you to someone who have helped you. Okay, we call it acknowledgement. Yeah. Is my answer? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And also you need to make it chronological order. Like I said, yeah, maybe in simple words, we said, okay, who is the big boss? You thank him first, until the small boss. So make it in chronological order. So for me, I just start with thank to director here, especially Institute of Youth Mind. And after that, go to supervisor, go to your teammate, yeah, team member, and also go to your parent, yeah. So it is the style of writing, because writing is the art. You can do whatever based on the skill that you have, okay? But I wish, I expect all of you not copy from each other. Because thank you letter, you copy from the other what okay. So it's not, okay, so you are not honest, okay? You not have to thank me. So you just copy and pass. Okay, any question regarding that? Do you have any question? Alright.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the essential ideas from Mr. Kuchun related to the question how to write annual lecture. So I hope that you are clarified a bit about how to write acknowledgement, such as Mr. Kuchun just walked through you guys. The most important to the less important, right? The big box to the small box, something like that, right? And also according to what you would like to write down, because writing is art, writing is the art. So what you want to write down, right? But make sure that the one you say second you first, perhaps like the one who support you the best, or the one who give you the birth, something like that. And let's say your parents is like that. If you regard that your parents are best persons or the best people for you in your life, perhaps you may say thank you first, something like that, right? So according to your style of writing, it's flexible, right? But as usual, speaking from Mr. Student, I hope it's come into your mind. Thank you. And let's move to the last question. Yeah, please.
It's my last question too about the geography. About the journal writing here, the training put like the number of 5. So to me, as like I gonna write A, B, C, and D, the 4 training here. So I gonna conclude 4 of them in one paper journal or separate.
Separate.
Again, Mr. Kuchen.
So thank you for your nice question. So for the journal, you have 5 members in each group. So you have to write all 5 journals.
Only 4.
5.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
5.
But
5. Include one cell as well. Include one cell.
You need to write about yourself.
so, and those we have to write in separate, not in one paper. Okay? Clear? Yeah, yes. Yeah. But one more thing, I would like to tell you that for a journal, you should be flexible with this one. If you have to do practicum 2 times, you have to write in 10. You get it? It means that if we do practicum in 2 times for each, so the first round for you 2 times, and the other member 2 times. So 5 multiplied to 2 is flexibility. Okay?
The 20 comes to be a real class and the 4 of them sit at the back.
Yeah, yes, in the back.
And 4 of them come together, right?
Yeah, of course. Must be the back. You get it? And write on the journal.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, so one more question. I think you may come up with this one. You may write 4 traditional paper for your team math. How about how can you write yourself? Do you have that question? Yeah, this is the answer. You can reflect based on your lesson plan. When you start writing about yourself, you can say after writing, you need to go and reflect on your lesson plan. Which stage that you have done it well, which stage you did not do it, and then tell the reason why. All right? And that part it will flow it to observation record about the stage that they better go and teach. Okay? And this part, and after you got the observation record, you need to transfer the information to trainee journal in here. And you will collect all the data in trainee journal to reflection paper. This is the stage, the 4 important stage that you are going to do in here. So from 1 to 1, they are different, not the same. The short answer in here, right? Okay, so thank you, and I will not waste much time in it. Maybe you can discuss with your supervisor, right?
Okay. Thank you so much again from Dr. Somara. What wholesale representation, wholesale Juma writing, right? So this is like a flow chart, right? Hey, anyway, the time is limited, right? So that we will say thank you, right? So say thank you to all of you guys, and especially for the supervisors and presenters today that waste time or take the time to come in here for presentation for the orientation class in the year 2019 or 2019, because we do it yearly. Okay, so I will close and right here right now, and then we will have a photo taking souvenir, right, together with all supervisor and all the presenter today, and then we will say goodbye. Okay, thank you.